Once, in a small and peaceful village tucked away between rolling hills and winding streams, there lived an elderly man named Rogov. The villagers knew him for one thing above all: his extraordinary laziness. Rogov had no regular work or occupation. Each day, he would sit outside his worn-out house, the paint peeling off its walls, and watch the villagers go about their daily labor. He observed the blacksmith hammering iron, the farmers tending their fields, and the potter shaping clay, all moving with purpose and energy. Yet, Rogov remained still. Whenever someone approached him with curiosity or disapproval and asked, "Rogov, why don't you work?" he would respond with a calm, almost proud smile, "I am preserving my energy for the future." But behind that composed exterior, a subtle fear gnawed at him. Fear of failure, fear of taking risks, fear of losing what little he had. These shadows governed his life more than he admitted, even to himself. Years drifted by. His clothes grew tattered, holes appearing in his sleeves. His pockets remained perpetually empty, and his house continued to crumble. The world around him moved on, but Rogov stayed frozen in a routine of inaction. One day, a young, spirited boy named Advik arrived in the village. He was known for his boundless curiosity, uncontainable energy, and endless questions. Advik loved observing life and people, and when he saw Rogov sitting idle as usual, he felt an urgent need to understand him. That evening, Advik approached Rogov as the orange sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of fire. "Rogovji," he began softly, "you are old, yet your body seems strong and your mind sharp. Why do you let your days drift by without doing anything meaningful?" Rogov chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mischief or perhaps with defensiveness. "Beta, I've learned one thing in life. Save money, save energy, save effort. That's the secret to survival." Advik remained quiet, listening carefully. Then, after a pause, he said gently, "Rogovji, I think the lesson you learned might not be the one life intended to teach." Rogov's eyes narrowed slightly, curiosity breaking through his habitual indifference. "And what do you mean by that, young one?" Advik continued, his voice earnest yet calm. "People often advise saving money, but rarely do they warn you about the kind of saving that slowly destroys your future. You saved money by avoiding opportunities, you saved energy by escaping hard work, and you saved effort by running away from fear. In truth, all of this has cost you more than you realize." Those words struck Rogov like a thunderclap. That night, for the first time in decades, sleep eluded him. He replayed his life in his mind, the dreams he had abandoned, the risks he had avoided, and the opportunities he had let slip by. He remembered his youth vividly, the time he had dreamt of opening a small workshop, fixing broken tools and creating things with his own hands. Yet, he had said to himself, "I'll save money first. Once I have enough, then I'll begin." But the money never accumulated, the years slipped away, and the dream remained unfulfilled. By dawn, Rogov had made a decision. He took his old radio, the only valuable possession he owned, and sold it to buy a basic set of tools. His hands trembled as he held the hammer and chisel. His legs ached with the unfamiliar strain, yet a spark of vitality lit within him. That morning, he began repairing broken wooden items for the villagers. The beginning was far from easy. He made mistakes, lost money, and sometimes felt the humiliation of failure weigh heavily on his shoulders. Yet, with each error, he learned something new: how to measure wood accurately, how to restore furniture to its original strength, how to treat customers with honesty and patience. Slowly, the villagers began to notice. A chair fixed here, a cabinet restored there. Rogov's work gained recognition, not only for its quality but also for the integrity and dedication he showed. Weeks passed, and Rogov felt a transformation deep within. One evening, Advik returned to check on him, finding Rogov busily fixing a wobbly stool. Seeing the boy, he smiled, a smile that had been absent for many years. "Beta," Rogov said with a voice trembling from emotion, "I finally understand. Saving money out of fear does not secure the future, it robs it. Savings should be a tool, not a prison. Money must be spent wisely, energy must be invested in growth, effort must be used to build, not to avoid." Advik smiled, proud yet quietly reflective. Yes, Raghavji. Courage and action are the true investments. Everything else is temporary. Time went on, and Raghav's reputation in the village changed entirely. He was no longer called lazy. He became known as wise. Not because he had amassed wealth or power, but because he had embraced life fully, despite the risks. His courage to begin, to act, to fail, and to learn became an inspiration. He often told villagers, "Do not let fear dictate your life. Use your time, your money, and your energy to grow. Invest in yourself, and life will repay you in ways you never imagined." Years later, when children asked the elders about courage and wisdom, they were told the story of Raghav, the man who learned that saving without purpose is wasteful, but investing in oneself is priceless. And for every young listener, the moral was clear. Life truly changes the day you stop hoarding fear and start cultivating courage. Raghav's story spread beyond the village. People came from afar to see the man who had turned a lifetime of inactivity into a lifetime of meaning. They did not come for riches, for there were none to flaunt. They came for the lesson he embodied, the lesson that time, effort, and courage are far more valuable than coins ever could be. And so, the old man who once wasted years saving what should have been spent found a second life, filled with respect, dignity, and joy. He taught the world, and anyone willing to listen, that true wealth is measured not by what you hold in your pockets, but by what you invest in your heart, mind, and actions. From that day forward, Raghav lived not as a man who feared the future, but as one who embraced it. And in his story, we find a mirror for our own lives. Stop hoarding fear, start investing courage, and watch as your own life transforms in ways you never imagined.